Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute Totoro bag. You can find the free pixel grid for this on my Ko-fi, which will be in the top of the description. The whole bag is made using single crochets, which is easier for beginners. These are the different types of yarns that I used. I'll leave more details about them in the description. Aside from yarn, you'll need a 5mm hook, a tapestry needle, and a pair of scissors. To start, you'll need to make a slip knot with cream yarn. Now we need to do the foundation chain. This does not count as row 1, and we need to chain 56 stitches. Once you've completed the foundation chain, we need to start following the pixel grid. For the first stitch of row 1, we need to skip the first chain. You don't need to repeat this for any of the other rows, it's just for the first one. Now we're just completing the rest of row 1. The only colour you'll need for this is cream. After completing any row of the chart, we need to chain 1 and turn the work over, but as the first stitch of the next row is grey, we're going to introduce the next colour now. To do this, you get the new yarn and loop it around the hook, and then pull through the old colour, which counts as a chain. Row 2 starts with 1 grey followed by cream. So we're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and to colour change we need to leave the 2 loops on the hook and then pull through with the cream that is still attached to the back of the yarn. Because this is an even row, that means we are working at the back of the piece, which means it's important to keep the strands of yarn in front of the row that you're doing instead of pushing it over to the back, which is what you do when you're working from the front. Now we have another colour change, and what I do for distances that aren't too far apart is I will use the grey that's already attached to the piece. If you do decide to carry the yarn over like this, then make sure that it isn't too tight. Because the distance between the colour changes weren't very far, I decided to use the same ball of grey yarn for the whole row. If you want the back of your piece to look neater, then you'll just need to use a different ball for each change, and to do this you just make several tiny balls of the same colour. This is what it should look like by the end of the third row. To start row 10, we're going to introduce black, and for this I used 2 different balls of yarn because the distance between the colour changes was too far to stretch it across the piece. On row 13 we start making the nose, and for this I decided not to introduce a third ball of yarn because I prefer to keep the back as simple as possible. I chose the yarn on the right side for the nose, and here I'm just pulling it to the centre and using it to change. This is what the back of my piece looks like to give you a better idea of the colour changes. This is what your piece should look like at row 39. The front panel of the bag should look like this. Once you've single crocheted into the last stitch, you need to cut the yarn and pull it through. Now that the front graph is complete, we're going to move on to the back panel. The only colour you'll need from now on is your background colour, which for me was pink. To start, we're going to make a slip knot. And once you've done that, we need to insert the hook into the first stitch of the front panel. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through. And then yarn over and pull through both stitches. This counts as the first stitch, and now we need to single crochet into every single stitch along the bottom. Just like the front panel, when you get to the end, make sure to chain one and then turn over your work. Now you need to do 69 more rows, or until it reaches the same length as the front panel. As you can see, mine is the same length as the front, and now I'm going to cut the yarn and pull it through. Now it's time to embroider the eyes of the small white spirit, and for this you're going to need a tapestry needle and black yarn. I usually tie the tapestry needle on and then tie a couple of knots at the back so it doesn't slip through. We're going to start by pushing the tapestry needle through the back of the piece into the spot where you want the bottom of the eye to be. Pull the yarn through and then push it into the back of the piece again where you want the top of the eye to be. Then just pull the yarn through again, and to make the eye thicker we're going to repeat those steps. Now that the first eye is done, just repeat that process for the second one. Now that the front and back panels are done and the eyes are embroidered, I'm going to start weaving in some of the ends. Before I do that, I'm going to cut them to make them shorter. I'm personally not a fan of weaving in ends, so I often don't do them all. This is how far I got, and now all that's left to do is block it. If you've never done that before, there's plenty of videos, but you just want to make it really wet, squeeze out all the water and lay it flat to dry. To attach the sides together, I use a tapestry needle to sew them. Make sure you have a really long piece of yarn so that you don't run out. I'm sewing the bag together inside out, but keep in mind that if you choose to do this, the bag will become a bit smaller, and it is definitely fine to do it the other way around. I just decided to do it this way. Once you've finished sewing both sides together, turn the bag the right way around. Now we're going to make the first strap, and to do this, start with a slip knot. Starting from the back of the panel, we're going to insert the hook around 4 centimeters from the seam. Yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through both stitches. And now we're going to do 7 more single crochets. Now turn your work over and chain 1 to start the next row. Keep going until your straps reach the length that you want. Mine were 54.5 centimeters or 105 rows. Once you finish your first strap, cut the yarn and pull it through the last stitch, but make sure you leave a long tail for sewing. Now we need to attach the yarn to a tapestry needle and sew this end of the strap 4 centimeters from the opposite seam on the other side. And now we need to weave in the ends for the straps. Once you're done, repeat the whole process again for the second strap, which will be on the back panel. And once you've done that, the bag is done. If you did make the bag, make sure to tag me on Instagram at @NocturneKnitting. And if you like this design, then make sure to check out my other Ghibli bags, link in the description. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another tutorial. Thanks for watching!